Hello, my name is Simon Powers and this is a video for Classical Guitar Corner. It's an online school for classical guitar. I'm going to show you today an exercise out of the book 20 Practice Routines for Classical Guitar. This book has hundreds of exercises in it and they're all put together so we have practice routines ready for different grades of ability. And this exercise is one that I like to use to assess people's left hand position. So it's going to be really nice for you to be able to self-assess your own left hand position because it is really something that you can only do with a pretty good left hand position. It's hard to get away with if you've got some serious distortions in your hand position. So let me show you what I'm talking about. When we play on the classical guitar, we might have a note we play with our first finger. And that note there is not really affected by how our other fingers are placed on the guitar. So what I often see is, at the very least, the fourth finger can tuck right back into the hand. You know, when playing 1, 2, or 3, the fourth finger's all the way back in the hand. And even sometimes when people play notes on the first string, I see the thumb come up and lots of fingers get tucked in behind. So this exercise forces your fingers to stay on the same string on consecutive frets and thereby limiting the range of motion that your hand can do. So if only one finger was down, we could have a lot of different motions. But if all four fingers are asked to be down at the same time, there's still some variability in there, but it's pretty small. And so it's a really useful way for me to teach through video and multimedia, and also a nice way for you to teach yourself if you're studying without a teacher. So the exercise is very simple and I can demonstrate it quite quickly. We're simply going to start up in the 5th position, so first finger on the 5th fret. We'll start on the 6th string here. I'm going to walk the fingers up one at a time. First finger, 5th fret, second finger, 6th fret, third finger, 7th fret, and fourth finger on the 8th fret. So they're just consecutive frets. Now what this does is it means that the hand has to accommodate all four fingers down in a line like that. And it's really going to restrict your movement. So let's focus on a couple of extra things. Let's move to the 3rd string to make it a little easier. 1, 2, 3, 4. Within this, you are restricted, but there are still a few things that I can see time to time. One is that fingers tend to collapse towards the headstock. If you find that, you might want to just bring your hand around, rotate it, bring your elbow into your body, and so that the 4th finger is tilted towards the bridge, towards the sound hole. The 1st finger is tilted towards the headstock, the nut, and the 2nd and 3rd finger are more or less perpendicular to the fretboard, so pointing straight up and down. That is going to help if your hand is tilted like this. So we want to bring it around. And then to help establish this hand position, we're going to walk our fingers 1, 2, 3, 4 along each string, and as we go along, we're going to keep them down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All the fingers are on the tips of their fingers rather than the pads. The fingers are nice and curled rather than collapsed at the joints. Then we keep going. 5th string, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I like to use my thumb for all the bass strings, and now I'll switch to I and M. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can take as much time as you like. The speed is not an issue here. It's more about accuracy and control. Then of course, once we get to the 1st string, we can walk it back down to the 6th string. Throughout this, our thumb is more or less following our 2nd finger in terms of placement, so it's moving along the back of the neck, more or less in the middle, but you can let it follow the 2nd finger as it traverses across the fingerboard. So have a go at that yourself, and you might find that it doesn't feel like you're used to playing. You might have a position that's a bit more like this, and if you notice that your 4th finger sometimes hides behind the fingerboard here or collapses into the hand, that means there's a long distance to get back to the next string it needs to play. And while you can get away with this on single line melodies or slower pieces, it becomes increasingly more of an obstacle to you the more complex a piece of music gets or the faster a piece of music gets. One final thing to look out for is that even when you're doing this exercise, if you play just the 1st finger, it's still possible to have all the fingers away or tucked in, which can happen, especially if we're tense anywhere in the hand. So see if you can have the fingers lined up over the strings, relaxed, curled, as if they were just about to play the next fret. So at any time, it could just go down a few millimeters and play the next fret. So they're lined up over the string and close, curled to the tip of the finger. While the concept is simple, you might find this movement quite challenging at first, but I guarantee you that doing this exercise with some focus and perseverance will help establish a good left hand position that will help your playing for years to come. So I hope you find that exercise useful. Please let me know in the comments if you've done something like this or you have something similar. It's quite similar, I suppose, to a chromatic scale. It's just simpler. And also it's in fifth position, which means the frets are nice and close together. So I really enjoy this from a teacher's perspective, but also I think it can be useful for you as a student. Thanks for your time. If you're interested in studying online at Classical Guitar Corner, you can send me an email, or you can check out classicalguitarcorner.com and find out about our online program. Thanks, and I'll see you soon. Bye.